This was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 7th visit to the United Arab Emirates. The President of the UAE, His Highness Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, has been to India 4 times. What does this mean for India-UAE relationship? The Prime Minister's 7th visit, the announcements, the MOUs that have been signed, and this outreach to the 3.5 million strong diaspora in the UAE, the largest anywhere in the world. What does this mean for India? What does this mean for the UAE? And what does this mean? What message and signal does this send out to the world? I'm Gaurav Sawant. We'll decode this very important, very significant visit. But first, as always, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega diaspora outreach in Abu Dhabi. The Prime Minister reiterates third-term guarantee. Also thanks Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for the construction of the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi.
मोदी ने अपने तीसरे टर्म में भारत को तीसरे नंबर की इकोनॉमी बनाने की गारंटी दी है.
Clashes erupt after farmers' Delhi Chalo march blocked in Haryana. Agriculture Minister tells India today that MSP law cannot be rushed. Punjab and Haryana High Court asks the centre why are farmers being blocked from entering the national capital. Rahul Gandhi promises Kisan Nyay guarantee. Says the Congress will give MSP guarantee if voted to power. Union Minister Anurag Thakur hits back, asks Rahul Gandhi to implement MSP law in Congress-ruled states first. Bengal showdown escalates. Protesters clash with police in Bashirhat over the Sandesh Kali case. BJP protesters lathi charged by Bengal police. TNC accuses the BJP of vandalism. Maharashtra Congress heavyweight Ashok Chavan officially joins the BJP a day after quitting the Congress. Chavan to file Rajya Sabha nomination tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 7th visit to the United Arab Emirates, and in Abu Dhabi at Ahlan Modi event, the Prime Minister emphasized that this was a visit, his first visit in 2015 was after a gap of over 3 decades. Such an important part of the world for India. The largest Indian diaspora, 3.5 million strong, live and work in the United Arab Emirates. But this is a relationship that's extremely crucial. Energy security, economy, trade. Now, from space to ocean, this relationship is being taken forward. Prime Minister Narendra Modi scripts a new chapter in India-UAE ties. At Ahlan Modi, chants echoed throughout Abu Dhabi as Prime Minister Narendra Modi held his mega diaspora outreach just a short while back. The Prime Minister reiterated his third-term guarantee at the Ahlan Modi stage, listing out all achievements under his government and his pledge for a Vikasit Bharat, a developed India by 2047. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also thanked Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for the construction of the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi, which is spread over 27 acres, will be inaugurated tomorrow. Hours earlier, the Prime Minister was accorded a grand welcome, complete with a guard of honor by the President of UAE.
अबू धाबी में आप लोगों ने नया इतिहास रच दिया है. आप लोग यूएई के कोने-कोने से आए और भारत के भी अलग-अलग राज्यों से आए हैं. लेकिन सबके दिल जुड़े हुए हैं। इस ऐतिहासिक स्टेडियम में हर धड़कन कह रही है, भारत यूएई दोस्ती जिंदाबाद। हर सांस कह रही है, भारत यूएई दोस्ती जिंदाबाद। हर आवाज कह रही है, भारत यूएई। आप में से जो लोग बीते दिनों भारत गए, वो जानते हैं कि आज भारत में कितनी तेजी से बदलाव आ रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक आधुनिक एक्सप्रेस वे बना रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए एयरपोर्ट बनवा रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए रेलवे स्टेशन बनवा रहा है। आज भारत की पहचान नए आइडियाज, नए इनोवेशंस की वजह से बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान मेगा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट से बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान एक वाइब्रेंट टूरिज्म डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान एक बड़ी स्पोर्ट्स पावर के रूप में बन रही है। और आपको सुनकर गर्व होता है, जरूर होता होगा, होता है ना साथियों? आप सभी भारत में आई डिजिटल क्रांति को जानते हैं। डिजिटल इंडिया की प्रशंसा पूरी दुनिया में हो रही है। इसका लाभ यूएई में बसे आप सभी साथियों के भी हो, इसके लिए हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और आप जानते हैं, मुझे हर भारतीय के सामर्थ्य पर कितना ज्यादा भरोसा है। इसी भरोसे के दम पर मोदी ने एक गारंटी भी दी है। मोदी की गारंटी आप जानते हैं? मोदी ने अपने तीसरे टर्म में मोदी ने अपने तीसरे टर्म में भारत को तीसरे नंबर की इकोनॉमी बनाने की गारंटी दी है। और मोदी की गारंटी यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी। हमारी सरकार लोगों के जीवन स्तर को सुधारने के लिए, उनकी परेशानियां कम करने के लिए लगातार काम कर रही है। हमने 4 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों को पक्का घर बनाकर दिया है। हमने 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों को नल से जल का कनेक्शन दिया है। हमने 50 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को बैंकिंग सिस्टम से जोड़ा है। हमने 50 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को 5 लाख रुपए तक के मुफ्त इलाज की सुविधा दी है। गांव देहात के लोगों को इलाज में दिक्कत ना हो, इसके लिए हमने 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा आयुष्मान आरोग्य मंदिर बनवाए हैं। जब साल 2015 में उनके सामने आप सबकी ओर से यहां अबू धाबी में एक मंदिर का प्रस्ताव रखा, तो वो तुरंत एक पल भी गंवाए बिना उन्होंने हाँ कह दिया। और उन्होंने यहां तक कह दिया, जिस जमीन पे तुम लकीर खींच लोगे वो मैं दे दूंगा। और अब अबू धाबी में ये भव्य दिव्य मंदिर के लोकार्पण का ऐतिहासिक समय आ गया है।
And India Today's Akshata Nandagopal now joins me live from the Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi. Akshata, that excitement can be seen on TV, but you must have felt it firsthand, and especially when Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke of my brother, referring to MBZ, also saying, he just said, I asked for some land for a temple. He said, जो जमीन चाहिए ले लो, and 27 acres of land was given. Give us a response and a sense of what's the buzz like on ground.
Good evening, Gaurav. And yes, you're right. This event of Ahlan Modi was a huge crowd play. 35,000 people who gathered here to represent the 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora present here in UAE. And the loudest cheers were reserved for the moments when the Prime Minister spoke about his bonhomie with Mohammed bin Zayed, with His Highness, and of course about how he felt when he first stepped foot in 2015, saying, I didn't know much of diplomacy, and yet I had such a warm welcome from then the Crown Prince and his entire family, and then to now, when again you had His Highness Mohammed bin Zayed visiting him, attending to him at the airport, welcoming him personally, and of course that guard of honor. So the loudest cheers were for that moment. But Gaurav, there was also a very important message of togetherness that the Prime Minister gave to the Indian diaspora here, saying very clearly that Bharat is proud of you, and also of course asking all of them to chant with him, Hamara Bharat. It gave a sense of togetherness, is my sense really, when I spoke to so many of them there who said they feel so proud to be sitting here in UAE and celebrating India, celebrating Indian culture and tradition. And that's exactly what we're going to be seeing come tomorrow as well, when the BAP's Hindu Mandir is unveiled by the Prime Minister. It's not just a Hindu temple, it's the coming together of cultures, it's the celebration of different cultures, of harmony as well. So that's exactly what is being celebrated, and perhaps the biggest testament, Gaurav, to the growing India-UAE ties.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the relationship, as the Prime Minister also spoke extensively. It's not just about the 3.5 million diaspora being the only glue, but at every level, from energy to economy, from strategy to space, this is the relationship that spreads across. Akshita, stay with me. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 7th visit to the UAE in 9 years, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, he's been to India 4 times in this period. The first and the largest Indian temple that's coming up in the region. What does this mean for bilateral ties, and what's the global messaging here? Joining me on this India First special broadcast is Ambassador Veena Sikri. Dr. Alvite Singh Ningthaujam is an assistant professor at the Symbiosis School of International Studies, joins us on this broadcast, as does Dr. Vail Awad, a very senior international journalist and a political analyst, joins us on this show. Ambassador Sikri, the Prime Minister spoke of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed coming to the airport to receive him with all his brothers when the Prime Minister visited the first time in 2015, the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in 30 years. And the fact that he came once again in 2024, what do you make of the India-UAE relationship, madam?
I think it's a huge, it's of huge geopolitical significance. I think Prime Minister Modi, when he became Prime Minister in 2014, recognized the importance of the Gulf for many reasons. First of all, of course, there is a huge Indian diaspora, among the largest Indian diaspora in the world living here. And Prime Minister Modi, as you know, always considers the diaspora as an important bridge, a bridge of friendship and understanding, especially because the diaspora is doing so well in every country where they are living. So he gave a lot of importance. And his first visit, as you said, was after more than 3 decades. So it was welcomed by the then Emir of UAE, and he was welcomed with open arms. But it didn't remain at that. The program that was made, the vision that was brought into the strategic partnership that was developed, the comprehensive economic partnership that was developed. So that was all giving substance to the friendship. It was not just one visit and then left at that. It is now the 7th visit. But in that time, look what has been built up. And look at the trade. UAE is now one of the largest investors in India, $11 billion of investment, and they have done only $2 billion of investment in China. So it shows, how much it is of importance. And I think the inauguration of the Swaminarayan temple tomorrow is of huge significance as a message, Sarva Dharma Sambhav. That is, all religions are possible. I think it's a message which the leaders of India and UAE want to give to their own people.
Let me take this to Dr. Awad. Dr. Awad, what makes the India-UAE relationship so special, so strong? What's the appreciation in West Asia, sir?
Thank you, Gaurav. I think it is the personal touch of the pragmatism and realism on the Indian foreign policy have seen during the Prime Minister Modi's tenure, that we have seen this sort of development in the relation with all the GCC countries taking apart the UAE, which has a special cordial relation because of the personal relation between the two top leaders. And I think that's a message that the Prime Minister is being able to convey not only to the Indian diaspora, which there are around 8 million are staying in the Gulf country, but also to the rest of the Indian diaspora, that it is matter every Indian for the Prime Minister matter. So this kind of fostering relation with the UAE, and it's a multifaceted relation, Gaurav. It is economical, it is a cultural, it is a social, it is a political, it has all the faces of it. And I think it is, with the times to come, this cultural dimension, it will continue to grow stronger with the time.
Okay. Dr. Ningthangjam, Prime Minister repeatedly referred to MBZ as my brother. We have 3.5 million Indians living and working in the UAE. How do you view the comprehensive strategic partnership and its impact, and this personal equation between the Prime Minister and MBZ?
Thank you, Gaurav, for having me on the show this night. Now, if we look at the contemporary international world order, there is a great display, or a very discernible display of personal diplomacy going on between different leaders in different parts of the world, not only between India and the UAE, but rightly pointed out by other panelists that there is a great display of personal bonhomie between the two leadership, and that has played a very important role in bringing together the two countries closer than ever before. If we look at the trajectory of India's foreign policy vis-a-vis West Asia, I think this is considered to be one of the most successful stories the Indian foreign policy has ever had. And in that, if we look at the bilateral ties between India and the UAE, we can put them in the pedestal. The fact that we have already signed a comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries also speaks a volume about the coming of, or the maturation of the ties between the two countries. No longer the relations are determined by the volume of the oil and the energy trade or the imports that we get from these countries, but also we have added many dimensions to the relationship. And what we have seen and what we have heard in the Prime Minister's speech just a while back speaks a lot about the transformation in the relationship. So he has spoken up a lot about the cultural ties between the two countries, which is very important. And at the same time, we are also taking the ties to a further level by increasingly focusing on the educational sector, to me, which is very important.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm coming to that in just a moment. IIT Delhi with a campus in Abu Dhabi, Central Board of Secondary Education setting up a base in Abu Dhabi. That's extremely significant. Ambassador Sikri, there appears to be a special bond between the leaders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi specifically referred to his request to Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for the temple, and he said that I was told you just put your finger on the map and that area is yours. This would indicate some very special relationship. This in your appreciation, ma'am, what message does this send to the region and perhaps across the world?
I think the bonding is very important. The bonding takes place, you have a personal rapport, the person can be your friend, but the bonding also comes from sharing of ideas, from a shared vision. And I think that both Prime Minister Modi and Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, they had this vision of what message they want to give their people, that we may be different, we have different nationalities, we have different religions, but our values are the same, and all religions have the same message of brotherhood and friendship. And the beautiful temple that will be inaugurated tomorrow is a big symbol of this. It's incredible that you should have such a beautifully carved temple reflecting the millennia-old civilizational relationship between the Gulf region and India. This is another important message, that in the 21st century, we are renewing something which was there millennia ago, where Arab dhows would come to India for trade and so on. And it's the Indian Middle East corridor project is really a revival of that traditional relationship. So whether it is religion, civilizational values, trade, economic cooperation, we want our people to have the same mindset, believing in Sarva Dharma Sambhav, believing that the whole world is one family, Vasudev Kutumbakam, and really implementing that belief through these trade messages. UAE is looking very much beyond the fossil fuel era of the world, and they're looking at a post-fossil fuel era, and they think India is a very good place for investing. The people of India, there are close to 4 million Indians living in the UAE, and they're valued there. They're valued for their contribution, their sincerity, their work ethic, and all this is reflected in the bond that has developed between
you refer to that ancient trade between India, between Bharat and I believe Port Rashid was where Indians would go and get pearls from there. Pearls, we're told the trade was immense from time immemorial. Dr. Awad, $85 billion bilateral trade. India is UAE's second largest trading partner, the second largest export destination. UAE is also the fourth largest source of FDI in Bharat. And Ambassador Sikri just referred to India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. How will that be a game changer and civilizational trade relationship in the 21st century, sir?
I think we are taking in consideration the old civilization and the link between India and the Arab world in the contemporary history. Gaurav makes it very interesting to see this relation fostering. If you remember, in 18th of February 2022, it was the first comprehensive economic partnership that UAE have signed outside with India. And that partnership also bring an investment of $100 billion of investment from UAE into India, generating more than 200,000 jobs. And there are more than 83,000 Indian companies are active in UAE, and 3.5 million Indian, as you said. So all this shows that the importance of this relation. Let us remember also the food security, which is also the corridor they are trying to create between India and UAE. It's of a prime importance for the region and for feeding hungry public in this part of the world, which will be very beneficial and mutual for the two nations. All this comes in between the global geopolitical dimension and the dynamic changes, which is unpredictable, that have taught those leaders that there should be another economic corridor, which they call it the IMEC, and that IMEC need a stability and security in the Middle East, where it can really be visible and economically viable. And that is why you need to build up the infrastructure for such of a project to compete with other projects in the region, and to ensure that India will remain a strong partner and strongly bonded with the Arab nation. And that is why India kept its relation and respect to the Arab world at equal distance from all the disturbances with the neighboring and the rift between the Arab nations. And I think that is where the vision of the leader play a major role in seeing these relations grow faster.
It's so interesting you should mention that. And Dr. Ningthamjam, we live in very interesting times. Times immemorial, India was known as the Sone ki Chidiya. That was the kind of wealth India had, and a strategic power which will have that kind of wealth in times to come. UAE is also key to India's energy security, energy cooperation. So UAE is India's third largest crude oil supplier, second largest LNG and LPG source for India. So this is a relationship in times to come. You see it very strong in the past 9 years, but do you also see as a win-win for both India and not just the UAE, but India and this entire region, sir?
Exactly, Gaurav. There has been a very great convergence of interest between the two countries. And as much as we are building these partnerships, we will be able to, extend the kind of a help we wish to other parts of the region. So we already have done that. India and the UAE already has partnerships in Ethiopia in the setting up of a ICT campus. So that in itself speaks a volume about the other side of the relationship. Coming to your energy question, West Asia or UAE, or for that matter, any of the suppliers will continue to remain India's biggest suppliers in terms of energy and oil. But at the same time, there is also a strong desire from both the leaderships to cooperate in the renewable energy sector. There is also a kind of an outlook towards a sustainable development. And India and the UAE, also in partnership with countries like Israel, have already started cooperating in the renewable energy sector. And that is going to be one promising and a potential area of cooperation in the times to come. And we are also expanding the cooperation in the defense and security sector. As much as we are looking for partners in the defense industrial cooperation, the UAE is also looking for similar partnerships. And we have had some positive developments in the last few months and a year. With regard to co-production, and also India is looking for a market for some of our defense exports, and UAE already has purchased some of our arms and ammunition, which also is a reason that it is also an area which will see further growth in the times to come. So if we look at, or if we have to make a prognosis of the relationship, I see it as a very potential future. And the fact that the Prime Minister has touched upon various achievements made by India in the last few years in terms of infrastructure, in terms of tourism, in terms of space, that also in a way gives a signal to the UAE leadership that you have a market and you have a partner to invest with.
And a stable economy, a stable growing economy that he promises will become the third largest economy in his third term, as he put it. But Ambassador Sikri, how did this turnaround come? So confident is India of this relationship that the first India-UAE investment summit was organized in Srinagar in March 2023. That's a big signal that goes out to a troublesome neighbor to India's west and perhaps the entire Islamic world. This relationship is truly a game changer, madam.
No, absolutely. It is. This is the biggest change in the vision of Prime Minister Modi, looking at this region and recognizing the crucial importance of this region to changing India's image even around the world. Now, all these decades, it's been Pakistan who's been carrying the narrative to the rest of the world and talking against India on Kashmir and talking to the OSCE against India on Kashmir and getting resolutions issued right, left, and center. But now India is carrying its own message. There is no longer, we're not bothered about the message by any other country. We have forgotten about any kind of hyphenation. We are carrying our own message. We are building our own relationships. And these countries have understood it. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed has understood, he has appreciated the value of what India is saying. He has realized that what Pakistan has been saying all these decades has no relevance to what is the situation on the ground, to what the people of India want, to what the people of Jammu and Kashmir as an integral part of India want. And this message, conveying it with such sincerity of purpose inviting their people. First, the businessmen came from UAE to visit India. They visited J&K. They visited all other parts of India, and they have made their choices where they want to invest. They are in the Gujarat summit. They are in other state summits, and they visit all of this, and they decided, and they wanted to open a mall and other things in Srinagar, and it's happened. And this is it. This is the reality of bringing into fruition a promise, a dream, a vision. And the time between having that vision and bringing it into fruition, this is what has happened in the last 9 years. And today you're seeing the result. The temple is being
India-UAE
inaugurated.
Investment Summit being organized in Srinagar. What an important step and message that was to the entire world. Dr. Awad, India-UAE, India-Saudi Arabia, India-Qatar. The Prime Minister is also traveling to Qatar tomorrow. What is your assessment, sir, of India's engagement, or Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government's engagement with this entire region, with West Asia, sir?
Well, I think it has been growing faster. And if you notice the Indian foreign policy, in fact, for the last 2 decades, and in the last decade, it has been growing internationally, been recognized, and also looked globally. And in most of the country in the Gulf region, Gaurav, they have already made up their mind that the acting East policy, where India is the destination for investment, India is the destination for the future, because it is also part of an Asian century. So therefore, the whole investment and the looking East policy has been the prime priority for most of the Arab countries. And I think the Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar have recognized. Even Qatar have been selling the Indian gas lesser than Bangladesh and China. Yes. And in fact, they have signed an agreement with the India for 2047, which is going to provide India energy security, which is also important. So if the Prime Minister knows where the basket has to be hunted and where he can take the eggs from, I think he understood the importance of this region for India, and in terms of food security, energy security, and diaspora security as well.
And analysts argue that this has saved billions of dollars for India, that contract for LNG with Qatar. But Dr. Ningthangjam, the point that you raised, sir, IIT Delhi with an Abu Dhabi campus, Central Board of Secondary Education opening an office in Abu Dhabi. Here the messaging goes way beyond economy, energy security, strategy. Now with this temple and education, you're in the field of culture and education. Was it always so intense, or in your appreciation, is this a post 2014-15 transformation, sir?
See, Gaurav, while we have a little bit of cultural interactions between India and the West Asian countries, but the visibility of this nature was something missing. For the longest time, one of the missing links in the in India's relations with the West Asian countries was the political dynamics, which the current Prime Minister has filled up since 2014. I've seen your channels discussing about the pre-visit to the Middle Eastern countries several times. We always have that discussions about when was the last time the Prime Minister had visited a country in West Asia. So we have seen that on the rise since 2014, and that has given some sort of a fillip to the missing link that was the political ties. So no matter how much economic relationship or the defense partnerships you have with any country, unless and until you have the political dynamics, I think the real potentials of the bilaterals could not be actualized and materialized. So we have seen that being given by the current political dispensation in New Delhi. And to me, adding that element of culture and education is very important, because no matter how much we talk about the civilizational ties between India and the West Asian countries, there are, if you look at the ground reality, there are a little bit of a lack of understanding about the India's culture and tradition and heritage. So if we have this sort of an initiative being taken up by the government to give a kind of a trust to the educational sector, I'm sure a lot more awareness will be created about what India is and the civilizational and the heritage and the values of the country. So it also adds, fits in well to the new education policy of India, where we talked about internationalization of the Indian education system. So UAE, of course, is one of the right places for us to start in that direction. So I really feel that this is a very important move made by the Indian government, particularly in these countries with whom we are enhancing our cooperation.
Okay. Okay, a very enlightening discussion. Dr. Awad, Ambassador Sikri and Dr. Ningtam for joining me here on this India Today special. Many thanks. So, those 3.5 million Indians who live and work in the UAE, they're a very crucial bridge between the two countries and the two people. The diaspora in the United Arab Emirates is the largest Indian diaspora anywhere in the world. They are the ones who are taking the civilizational relationship to a new level. Ancient India had trade ties with this region. How is that relationship now being taken forward? Sanjay Sudhir, Ambassador Sanjay Sudhir is India's ambassador to the UAE. India Today's Akshita Nandagopal spoke to him in Abu Dhabi. Let's listen in.
And joining us here on India Today for a very special conversation is Ambassador Sanjay Sudhir here in Abu Dhabi. Good morning. Thank you very much for having us here, Ambassador. The Prime Minister's visit, 7th one to the UAE, to the United Arab Emirates. To you, Ambassador, to kick off this conversation, can you give us a sense of really what makes this visit special compared to the previous ones?
Well, it's a very special visit. As you said, it's the 7th visit in the last 10 years for Prime Minister. And in this duration, the UAE President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, has visited India 4 times. Every time Prime Minister visits, the relationship goes up several notches up. If you recall, in 2017, we signed the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement, and things have been flowing out of that. And today, our relationship is really deep and wide. It covers not only the old areas of trade and investment, but we are into fintech now, into education, infrastructure, and so many other things.
What is going to be, a big talking point from the bilateral Durecon, sir? Because there is, yes, a lot of talk about the Mandir, about the Indian diaspora event, and we'll get to that. But the bilateral itself, in terms of tangible takeaways, what's that going to be? Because I hear there's also some talk of a bilateral investment, takeaway that we could see a deal on that front.
Well, for full details, I think you will have to wait a bit. But certainly we are going to sign the bilateral investment treaty. So within 2 years of signing CEPA, we are signing an investment treaty. UAE is already the 4th largest investor last year, and the overall 7th largest investor in India. And I think the BIT will take their investment to a different plane altogether. Today, UAE is the only country with which we have both a CEPA as well as a BIT. But in addition to these things, you will also see several documents being signed in connection with infrastructure, fintech, and so many other areas. Just wait and see what all is there to come out of the visit. But one thing I mentioned is that every time Prime Minister visits, relationship goes up higher. So when he was here, say in July last year, there were 3 agreements signed. One on IIT Delhi campus in Abu Dhabi. Today that's a reality.
Yeah.
The first batch has already started.
Which way he's going to visit, I hear.
Let's see. The other one was regarding connecting our messaging systems. That's also, you might see a follow-up on that. Just give it a few hours. The third one was on an agreement on settling trade in local currencies. That's up and running. We have already done transactions in crude, gold, food, and so many other areas.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And on day 2 of his very crucial UAE visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. Now, this is spread over 27 acres of land. Construction started in 2018 and completed by 2024. India Today's Akshita Nandagopal is on ground zero and she gets us this report.
I'm standing in front of the largest Hindu temple outside of India. And it's in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. This is the beautiful Bap Swami Narayan temple, which the Prime Minister will be inaugurating on 14th February. So excitement, of course, is in the air, but it's a beautiful, beautiful architecture also that's brought this temple alive. All of it all of it made by hand and interestingly made of marble as well as sandstone, as you can see here. And the carvings are absolutely beautiful to witness. You can see the preps are still underway here. There's a lot of work that's underway, which is why they put the glasses also right at the entrance, right inside. We're trying to show you there. You can see that there are two idols placed covered with a white blanket that will be opened up when the Prime Minister reaches. But you can see inside, beautifully adorned in gold. And that tells you the kind of work that's gone into this particular temple as well. But besides that, why is this temple so significant? We've told you, of course, that because it's in Abu Dhabi, it's something that's now a cultural awakening of sorts, showing India's might across the world. But in this temple, 27 acres is in fact covered in this entire area. It's huge, massive, and I can show you across, which we will do in just a bit as well. There are 7 idols also in here, and the idea is to ensure that every part of, in fact, the country of India is covered. So you have Murtis, you have Lord Ram, you have Sita Ma's idol inside, you have Lord Shiv inside, you have Lord Ayyappan, an idol of Tirupati Balaji, all of that inside this very temple. It has a capacity of about 3,000 people who can be in fact held at one point in this area, who can come here and offer their prayers. But let me tell you about some of the features of this temple. I have with me Heenal also, who works here, who's been a volunteer working very actively on ensuring that this dream of a temple comes true and is realized. Heenal, yeah. I'm sure this is a pinch me moment for you. Yeah. What's it been like, bringing this story alive? I look at the carvings and just look at this here. Can I just highlight this part right here that shows what really this temple in Abu Dhabi is about? You see sheikhs there. You see, of course, the brahmacharis there, all shaking hands. And the story of, everyone coming together to build this temple is absolutely beautiful. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it's really been an amazing journey of infusing people from all cultures, all backgrounds, all religions, because that's what this mandir represents. It's a place for everyone to find peace, to find harmony, to come together as communities and realize fundamentally we all share the same underlying values as humans. And that's what we want to spread. That's what we want to share. There are also Aztec carvings here, talking about...
Yeah, what's the significance of that? I understand that several civilizations also have kind of been weaved into this.
Exactly. And it's really, again, to show in every part of this mandir how it's about multiple communities and cultures. And we can...
And from the west to the east, back home in India, Bengal violence showdown escalates. Protesters clash with police in Bashirhat over the Sandesh Khali case. Details coming up.
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Scan the QR code.
पंजाब, हरियाणा, यूपी और अलग अलग देशों के किसान दिल्ली में आ रहे हैं और मोदी सरकार की ओर से पूरा प्रयास किया जा रहा है कि वो न आए दिल्ली। तो उसी समय राहुल जी किसान संगठनों से बातचीत कर रहे हैं। ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्य की बात है, बड़ी दुर्भाग्य की बात है और ये मोदी सरकार की मंशा को दर्शाता है कि किस गैर लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से किसानों को रोका जा रहा है। और जो आश्वासन दिए गए थे किसान संगठनों को जब प्रधानमंत्री ने 3 काले कानून को वापस लिया था, कृषि कानून को वापस लिया था, तब उन्होंने कुछ वादे किए थे किसान संगठनों को, वो वादा पूरा नहीं हुआ है।
हमें ये सुनिश्चित करना चाहिए कि इसका रास्ता क्या क्या होगा और उसके लिए यदि हम कोई एक फोरम ऐसा बनाए जिसमें हम लगातार चर्चा करते रहे और इसका समाधान निकालें। ये बात किसानों को समझने की जरूरत है कि किसी किसानों के हितों की रक्षा हो, भारत सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है और उसके साथ साथ जन सामान्य को कोई कठिनाई ना हो। दोनों ही बातों को जो संगठन है, किसान संगठन, उनको समझना पड़ेगा।
किसान का बेटा ही है जो देश को की सरहदों पर उसकी रक्षा करता है। तो आप किसान की बात क्यों नहीं सुनते यार? हमारे देश की कैपिटल है, अगर कोई वहां पर जाके अपनी बात करना चाहता है तो आप क्यों डरते हैं? अरे बात कीजिए, आपके देश का किसान है, ये वही किसान है जो गांधी जी के साथ तुरा था, ये वही जो इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी बनाई थी जनरल मोहन सिंह, ये वही किसान है। अरे बात सुनिए, ये कोई किसी के दलाल नहीं है, ये किसान है, ये खुद कुर्बानी करते हैं। सो इनके साथ टकराना तो बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए, किसी को उसका दिमाग खराब होगा जो इनके साथ।
जिस प्रकार से पंजाब सरकार का उसमें उसको उकसाने के लिए लगा लो या उनका अपना आंदोलन बढ़ा लिया उन्होंने अपना। और आज के आप जितने बयान भी देख लो, सारे आम आदमी पार्टी के जो लोग हैं उनके बयान है सारे के सारे। और मैं समझता हूं कि इसके पीछे इस प्रकार की एक पॉलिटिक्स है, आप देख भी रहे सारी के सारी। तो उन लोगों का एक ध्येय है, वास्तविकता में किसान के हित की बात नहीं है। किसान के हित के लिए तो सरकार स्वयं चिंतित है और सरकार काम कर रही है।
केंद्रीय कृषि मंत्री अर्जुन मुंडा इस वक्त हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए मौजूद हैं। सर, लगातार जो किसान हैं वो बॉर्डर्स पर पहुंच रहे हैं, आंसू गैस के गोले भी छोड़े जा रहे हैं, उनकी जो मांग है उसको लेकर के आप लोगों ने मीटिंग भी किया था। किस तरीके से आगे अब आप लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे?
देखिए, मैं अभी भी आशान्वित हूँ। मैं मानता हूँ कि बातचीत के माध्यम से समाधान निकल सकता है। ये बात उन्हें भी समझना चाहिए कि जो बात वो कह रहे हैं, सरकार की पद्धति होती है, सरकार के मापदंड होते हैं कि जो ऐसे मामले जो राज्यों से सन्निहित है उनके साथ भी बातचीत करना औपचारिक तौर से, और उसके बाद संगठनों के साथ भी बात करना, और साथ ही साथ अनुकूल प्रतिकूल ऐसे विषयों पर भी चर्चा करना जिससे कि किसानों के हित और देश के हित में हो। लेकिन इस बात को समझने की ज़रूरत है। इस बात को यदि हम समझेंगे तो स्वाभाविक रूप से इसका समाधान को अच्छे ढंग से निकाल पाए।
एमएसपी की गारंटी की मांग और इसके अलावा कर्ज माफी को लेकर के किसानों की तरफ से लगातार
एमएसपी की बात यदि आप देखें तो आप इसका अध्ययन करिए कि एमएसपी में 2013 और 14 के तुलना में 2023-24 में आज एमएसपी की दर क्या है। हम भी चाहते हैं कि किसानों के किसी भी ऐसे उत्पाद जिसमें एमएसपी दर तय होता है वो उसके माध्यम से उससे कम में ना बिके। लेकिन एमएसपी के मामले में ये बात कहते हुए कि हमें अभी ही सारी चीज़ें हो जाना चाहिए, ये मैं समझता हूँ कि राजनीति से प्रेरित नहीं होना चाहिए।
देखिए, हम हर उससे तैयार हैं और जो सरकार के लोग हैं उन्होंने बातचीत भी की, और जो काम इस सरकार ने किसानों के लिए किया, मैं दावे के साथ कह सकता हूं कि आज तक किसी सरकार ने भी किसानों के लिए इस प्रकार का काम किया नहीं है। जो स्वामीनाथन जी ने कहा कि भी किसान की जो उत्पादन लागत है वो घटनी चाहिए, जब तक वो उत्पादन लागत नहीं घटेगी तब तक किसान जो है वो प्रॉफिट में नहीं आएगा। तो उसके लिए जो किसान सम्मान निधि है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसको शुरू किया, और जो छोटा किसान है 2 एकड़ का है, 2.5 एकड़ का है, 3 एकड़ का है, अगर 6,000 रुपए उसको मिलते हैं तो मैं समझता हूँ उसके जो खाद और भी उसके पैसे हैं, दवाई के पैसे, वो तो लगभग उसके पास डाल दिए। तो अगर ये पैसे उसको मिल जाते हैं तो उत्पादन लागत कम होगी, तो निश्चित तौर से किसान उससे लाभ में है। जहां तक जो मिनिमम प्राइस है, एमएसपी है, तो वो भी जितना बढ़ाया सरकार ने, आज तक किसी ने नहीं बढ़ाया। अब उसमें तो स्टेट के भी तो काम है ना जी, सारा सेंटर का नहीं। सेंटर ने जिस चीज की जरूरत है तो सेंटर ने खरीद ली। अब हरियाणा सरकार है 14 फसलें खरीद रही, तो अन्य स्टेट भी उस प्रकार का प्रयास कर सकते हैं, पंजाब भी उसी प्रकार से खरीद लो। तो हम पूरी तरीके से किसान के साथ हैं, लेकिन अगर कोई आंदोलन के लिए आंदोलन करना चाहता है तो उसका तो कोई वो नहीं हो सकता ना जी।
जिस तरह से हमारे को रोका गया है
नहीं, देखिए जिस प्रकार से पंजाब सरकार का उसमें उसको उकसाने के लिए लगा लो या उनका अपना आंदोलन बढ़ा लिया उन्होंने अपना। और आज के आप जितने बयान भी देख लो, सारे आम आदमी पार्टी के जो लोग हैं उनके बयान है सारे के सारे। और मैं समझता हूं कि इसके पीछे इस प्रकार की एक पॉलिटिक्स है, आप देख भी रहे सारी की सारी। तो उन लोगों का एक ध्येय है, वास्तविकता में किसान के हित की बात नहीं है। किसान के हित के लिए तो सरकार स्वयं चिंतित है और सरकार काम कर रही है।
मीटिंग जो सफल नहीं रही कल की,
देखिए कई बार क्या होता है ना जी, जो बातचीत करने वाले होते हैं वो पहले से इरादा करके आते हैं कि हमने कोई समझौता करना ही नहीं है, बातचीत करनी ही नहीं है, वो दिखाने के लिए आते हैं। तो जब अगर कोई इरादा इस प्रकार का कर ले फिर तो नहीं हो सकती। लेकिन सरकार का प्रयास जो है वो किसान के पक्ष का है और सरकार चाहती है कि किसान आर्थिक रूप से मजबूत होना चाहिए।
Welcome back. Bengal remains on the edge. Protesters clashed with the police in Bashirhat over the Sandesh Kari case. BJP protesters were lathi charged by the Bengal police. The TMC insists the BJP is dividing Bengal. The BJP, on the other hand, has accused the Bengal police of being a hand in glove with the Trinamool Congress.
Sandesh Khali remains on the boil. A day after Bengal Governor Ahlan Modi visited the violence-hit area and took stock of the situation, tensions escalated during a protest against the alleged sexual assault of women by TMC leader Shah Jahan Sheikh and his aides. BJP workers clashed with the police on Tuesday. The situation turned tense as BJP supporters marching towards the Superintendent of Police office broke through barricades. Police resorted to lathi charge and fired tear gas shells to disperse the crowd.
पुलिस खुद प्लानिंग की है, नहीं तो पुलिस का व्यवस्था लेना चाहिए। हर छत के ऊपर लोक रखना चाहिए था पुलिस का। पुलिस ने कोई लोक नहीं लगा, जो भी रखा सिविल ड्रेस में रखा।
Several women in Sandesh Khali have been protesting for the last few days over the alleged atrocities. They claim that TMC leader Shah Jahan Sheikh and his gang captured swathes of land by force, besides sexually harassing them in the area. The BJP is accusing Mamata Banerjee government of shielding Sheikh.
ममता का पुलिस अभी तक उनको इच्छाकृत पकड़ा नहीं है, क्योंकि कमिंग वोट लोकसभा वोट में अभी फंडिंग बोलिए, रिगिंग बोलिए, ये सारे जो अनैतिक काम है ये शेख शाहजहां ममता बनर्जी के लिए करेंगे।
The TMC hit back, claiming the BJP is dividing Bengal and creating communal tensions.
Bhajpa and CPM, they are trying to create new provocations, and they have started vandalism. They have attacked police by stone throwings, etc., etc. They provoke like anything.
Sheikh has been on the run ever since his supporters attacked an ED team that went to raid his residence and office. With Ritik Mondal from Sandesh Khali, Bureau Report, India Today.
We will continue to track developments on the story very closely, but that is all I have for you on this India First special. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.
Tear gas fills the air. Fierce confrontations. Obstacles. Sharp spikes. Barbed wire barriers. And law enforcement in riot gear. Once again, farm protests erupt in India's grain bowl heartland, evoking memories of the march from Punjab and Haryana to the nation's capital on November 26, 2020.
हालात यहाँ पर कहीं ना कहीं बेकाबू होते जा रहे हैं और सिचुएशन तनाव वाली बनी हुई है। लोगों को भी समझाने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि लोग भी आगे ना बढ़ें। और ये देखिए, ये जो ड्रोन आया है इससे टीयर गैस सेल फेंके जा रहे हैं।
This time around, the protests carry a different tone from the prolonged agitation of the past. In contrast to the 2020 protests against new agricultural laws, which were eventually repealed a year later. The February 2024 protests focus on long-standing grievances confronting the country's agricultural sector. Key among the farmers' demands is the enactment of a new law ensuring a minimum support price for their crops. Despite some progress on other fronts, the impasse over the legally backed minimum support price fueled Monday's demonstrations. While the government sets minimum prices for over 20 crops annually, the Food Corporation of India primarily purchases rice and wheat at these rates, benefiting only about 6% of farmers. The government maintains that time is needed to devise a solution. Traffic routes and border restrictions around Delhi led to extensive gridlock in the city. Currently, it is Shambhu border, located approximately 230 kilometers north of Delhi, that has become the focal point of clashes between enraged farmers and authorities striving to prevent their advance towards the city. With Kamaljeet Sandhu and Satyendra Chauhan, Bureau Report, India Today.
गोपाल राय हैं हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए। सर, क्या नजर आ रहा है आपको इस प्रदर्शन के जरिए?
देखिए, जिस तरह से अगर याद होगा पिछली बार जब किसान आंदोलन हुआ था, देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद तीनों जो काले कानून थे उसको वापस लिया था और किसानों से वादा किया गया था कि एमएसपी को जो है गारंटी कानून जो है उनको दिया जाएगा। आज सत्र जो है संसद का खत्म हो चुका है, सरकार चुनाव की तरफ बढ़ गई है, लेकिन किसानों से जो वादा किया गया था वो उनको धोखा मिला है। आज मजबूरी में किसान अपनी आवाज को दोबारा उठाने के लिए मजबूर हुए हैं और वो दिल्ली की तरफ आने का उन्होंने 13 तारीख का ऐलान किया है। लेकिन जिस तरह से सरकार भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जिस तरह से उनको दमन करने की तैयारी कर रही है, वो अंग्रेजों के राज के भी मतलब हदों को पार कर रही है। जिस तरह से सड़कों पर दीवार खड़ी की जा रही है, ये तो कभी नहीं हुआ। मुझे लगता है कि ये दरिंदगी, इस तरह के दमन का कोई स्वरूप तो हमें नहीं लगता है कि भारत में कभी भी किसी शासन तंत्र में अपनाया गया हो।
आज हम सभी के लिए बहुत हर्ष की बात है कि महाराष्ट्र के एक बड़े ही कद्दावर नेता, जो कई बार महाराष्ट्र की विधानसभा में, देश के लोकसभा में चुनकर आए, अलग अलग विभागों के मंत्री के रूप में काम किया, महाराष्ट्र में 2 बार मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में काम किया, ऐसे अशोकराव जी चव्हाण सर, इन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी में प्रवेश किया है। और अभी अभी हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष बावनकुळे जी ने उनको पार्टी का प्राइमरी मेंबर उनको पार्टी की प्राइमरी मेंबरशिप देकर और उनका ससम्मान भारतीय जनता पार्टी में प्रवेश दिया है।
सार्वजनिक जीवन में काम करते हुए एक पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड लेके, डेवलपमेंटल एटीट्यूड लेके आने वाले समय में काम करने की भूमिका मेरी है, पहले भी रह चुकी है और आज भी मैं जो आया हूँ इस नए क्षेत्र में नई शुरुआत जब कर रहा हूँ तो मैं इसी डेवलपमेंट प्रधानमंत्री जी को जो सबका साथ सबका विकास ये भूमिका लेकर प्रधानमंत्री जो पूरे देश भर में जिन्होंने नेशनल इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे एक अलग अपनी छवि बनाकर एक अच्छा काम करके दिखाया है, निश्चित तौर पर इम्प्रेस हूँ, निश्चित रूप से इम्प्रेस हूँ मैं।
Shambhu border, Ambala, Haryana becomes a war zone. As government farmers' talks remain deadlocked, thousands of farmers march with the clarion call of Chalo Delhi. Face full brunt of state action.
लगातार आंसू गैस के गोले यहाँ पर फेंके जा रहे हैं। ये देखिए, अब यहाँ पर कंट्रोल से बाहर हो रही है। ये जो ड्रोन आया है, इससे टीयर गैस सेल फेंके जा रहे हैं।
Tear gas shells dropped by drones, lathi charge, water cannons. A cement fortress, all borders blocked leading to the capital. The state cracking down on protest. The farmers pushing back. Politics peaks on the sideline. The stage set.
MSP की गारंटी हिंदुस्तान के किसानों को देंगे।
Kisan Kranti 2.0.
All right, viewers, let's take you now immediately to the Shambhu border to get you an idea what has ensued over the course of the last 10 hours, which continues even right now while I speak. The farmers, mostly contingents coming in from Amritsar and other parts of Punjab, pushing forward to Delhi. They've been stopped where Punjab meets Haryana at Ambala at the Shambhu border, and what is ensued is for you to see. Full force of the state coming in where the farmers are concerned. There was tear gas that was used, there was water cannons that was used, and lathi charge through the course of the day. The farmers have decided they will continue to press forth, and the police and the rapid action force responding in equal measure. On the sidelines of it, the Punjab, the Haryana High Court have all come in and stated, because hearing a PIL, asking why the Haryana government is not allowing the farmers to make their way from Punjab to Haryana, as it's a protest and they, as per the farmers, are protesting in a peaceful manner. But on the other side, the administration has made it very clear that they're going to respond in equal measure and not be on the defensive. So that's the flashpoint right now. A war zone-like situation where Shambhu border is concerned. This time around, last time it was Singhu border where the farmers had come till, but this time the Haryana police has been successful on stalling them at the Haryana-Punjab border in Ambala. I want to cut across first to Prakash Chawla, farm economy expert. He's joining us because what is the reason for all of this? One of the main reasons coming in is that the MSP has become a flashpoint yet again. The farm unions with their set of demands, over 10 of them, their biggest sticking point has been to now legalize MSP and make it into a law. And for them, they said they waited for the last session in Parliament for that to happen. That didn't happen, therefore they've taken back on their protest. Not all unions are on board, but the numbers are bound to swell, especially after visuals like that. But is it an unfair demand? Many seem to suggest that, and especially, the government has made that point forward that states would practically go bankrupt if MSP actually becomes a law. Is that possible? I want to bring in Prakash Chawla, who's looked at farm economy for a while now. Mr. Chawla, the conversation right now is that this is an unfair demand. The farmers pushing forth to legalize MSP. States cannot afford it, and you're looking at possible bankruptcy. Does this argument hold true?
No, not really. Why? Because when you announce MSP, anyways you are paying, especially if you see the state of Punjab, Haryana, parts of western Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Anyways, you are procuring. The Food Corporation of India procures large segment of its requirement for schemes like Garib Kalyan Yojana, the rationing at the ration shops from these states. Anyways, you are paying them. All that farmers are asking is that in some years when the crop, the production is excess, so to speak, and the global requirement is also, global inventory is good enough, sometimes the prices crash. Those years, those seasons when the prices crash, it becomes difficult. The farmers find themselves in a state of flux, in a very difficult situation. So farmers are asking, especially from Punjab, that okay, anyways you are buying from us, why not give us a guarantee? After all, it is not going to be a unique law. You already have an Act of Parliament under in the form of National Food Security Act. You have a Food Security Act passed by Parliament, under which the ration, yes, the Garib Kalyan Yojana is a free ration. But even before Garib Kalyan Yojana, there has been a Food Security Act. There is a Manrega Act relating to the farm sector. So why not have one more act that will give a guarantee to them, a surety, stability in the entire agriculture sector, stability to the farm economy.
Mr. Chawla, as I bring in one of the protesting farmers, I want to ask you a question, sir. And the question tantamounts to a very simple, point, which is that of the 23 crops, which is 80% of the produce, if the government decides to, look at making the MSP legal, what the farmers clearly are asking for an MRP, at least a minimum retail price, where if the government doesn't buy, then whoever buys, that price is fixed. For them, they say it's unfeasible. It's not possible.
Well, anyways, these items are being produced, are being harvested and reaching the market. Anyways, right? And you are not going. Supposing you go to market, you buy atta at big basket. You buy Ashirwad atta. What is the price you are paying? Anyways, you are paying. What farmers are asking is that certain periods prices tend to crash because of distortions in the market. So once the MSP is guaranteed, the distortions will stop. Let me assure you that all this talk of a state going bankrupt will not happen. See, the food subsidy bill of the government of India is something like 2.2 lakh crore annually. And MSP doesn't mean that the government has to buy the entire lot. No, it is only a benchmark price. It's a market intervention tool. Whenever the prices tend to, crash. And mind you, the upcoming season of the wheat harvest, you're going to see shortage of grain. for the government procurement scheme itself. So the government will have to give a sweetener on top of MSP. That is the state of the market right now. For instance, the MSP for the ensuing crop has been announced as 2275 per quintal. The market rate right now is 2700. The farmer does not have to even go to government procurement agency FCI anyways. So the FCI will have to give a sweetener. That is the state of a market today. The global supply chain has been disrupted because of the war between in Ukraine. Ukraine was because Ukraine is one of the largest producer of wheat. The global supply chain is under stress. Under those circumstances, it's not going to be a disruptor of sorts. It is avoidable, I'm telling you. And when you see, there was a scheme called Bhavantar. Bhavantar was a Madhya Pradesh scheme. Niti Aayog member Professor Ramesh Chand is of the view, you can check, is of the view that Bhavantar is the best scheme. What is Bhavantar? You give a difference between the market price and the MSP if the prices crash.
So basically, Mr. Chawla, you're saying that as per one report that the Niti Aayog has, the feasibility of implementing the MSP is possible, which there are a lot of economists also say which is not, but they're contrarian points of views. You've given one. I want to bring in Chaudhry Sawant Malik into this conversation, National President Kisan Union. Malik साहब, फिर से वही बोला जा रहा है कि ये जो किसान हैं सिर्फ एक स्टेट पंजाब के हैं, हरियाणा का किसान जुड़ नहीं रहा, यूपी का किसान जुड़ नहीं रहा, ये एक पॉलिटिकल मूव है, चुनाव 2 महीने में है, ये सब उसी के लिए हो रहा है।
प्रीति जी, ऐसा नहीं है, ये इसलिए हो रहा है कि किसान से जो इन्होंने वादे किए उनको तोड़ दिया। लगातार जो दिल्ली के चारों तरफ आंदोलन चला, 13 महीने तक आंदोलन चला, उसमें सरकार ने किसान से वादा किया, झूठ बोलकर इनको घर भेजने का काम किया, और उसके बाद में 26 महीने हो गए। पिछले 26 महीने से किसान के लिए कोई नीति इन्होंने नहीं बनाई, एमएसपी पे कोई बात नहीं करी, क्योंकि जो है ये सोचते थे किसान अब घर चले गए। किसान इनको लगातार कह रहे थे, लगातार इनको कॉल दे रहे थे। 6 महीने पहले बता दिया था कि आपको 13 फरवरी तक का समय दिया जाता है, अगर आप नहीं करेंगे दिल्ली की तरफ किसान कूच करेगा, 16 फरवरी को पूरा भारत बंद किया जाएगा। और ये समय इसलिए दिया गया था कि इनका शीत सत्र भी खत्म हो चुका होगा। अब सरकार का 5 साल का पूरे के पूरे जितने सेशन होते हैं वो पूरे हो गए लोकसभा के। अब सरकार लास्ट में चुनाव की तरफ जा रही है। इन्होंने ना बजट में कुछ दिया, ना किसी सेशन सत्र में दिया, ना कोई मुद्दे पे बात की। एक कमेटी बनाई थी, उसकी कोई रिपोर्ट नहीं आई। और हमारी मांगी कितनी है, वही मांगे हैं जो इन्होंने कहा था कि हम मांग लेंगे। इन्होंने कहा था एमएसपी की गारंटी पे हम बात करेंगे, गारंटी देंगे। इन्होंने 7वें दौर की बातचीत में कहा था पराली पत्ती प्रदूषण वाला मामला हमने वापस ले लिया, बिजली अमेंडमेंट का बिल हमने वापस ले लिया। वो फिर कहां से आ गया? इन्होंने कहा था हम किसानों पे जो मुकदमे हुए हैं वो वापस ले लेंगे, किसानों को मुआवजा देंगे। इन्होंने मतलब जो इन्होंने किसान से झूठ बोलकर उनको घर भेजने का काम किया है, वही तो इनके साथ हो रहा है।
पर मलिक जी, फिर अगर इनके साथ वही हो रहा है तो सिर्फ पंजाब के जो किसान हैं वो ही क्यों कर रहे हैं? हरियाणा के किसान क्यों नहीं जुड़ रहे हैं? उत्तर प्रदेश के किसान क्यों नहीं जुड़ रहे हैं?
प्रीति जी, पूरे देश से कम 200 कुछ जत्थेबंदियां चली हुई हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि भोपाल में कर्नाटक के किसान गिरफ्तार किए, पश्चिम यूपी